Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning into the Pet Expo YouTube channel. This is Barry, and we got some cool reptile arrivals. The first ones we're looking at are Jackson chameleons. The female is on top, lacking the horns and that nice red coloration. The male is the one with the horns. Now these guys are one of the easier chameleons to keep. They like their relative humidity around 60 to 80%. And then they also like their temperature between 75 and 85 degrees. Now these guys are one of the few live bearing chameleons, so they do happen to breed. You'll have little babies that pop out instead of little eggs. Also, these guys are insectivores, so eating crickets, waxworms, and cockroaches. And they use a very long tongue, almost the length of their body, to get that food, and they are pinpoint accuracy when they are catching those. Females do live a little bit shorter, about 3 years, where males can live 5 to 7 years. But do make a very good pet. One of the chameleons that is a little bit more apt for handling than most of your other ones. The next thing we're going to move on to is going to be your leopard geckos that we got in today. Now these guys are one of your great beginner lizards. They are nocturnal, so they don't need any UVA or UVB. Just a heat lamp to keep these guys anywhere from 95 to 85 degrees. And do provide a hide so they have a comfortable area to hide in. They are also insectivores, so eating crickets, cockroaches, mealworms, waxworms, superworms, and even baby mice when they get to full size. Also with leopard geckos, they get excess of 7 to 9 inches. And their fat storage is in their tail, so be very careful while handling, because that tail is meant to break off if they get scared or if any pressure gets pulled to it. And it will take time for them to regrow and a lot more food to pack on that energy. The next thing we're going to move to is going to be our New Caledonian crested geckos. These guys are also a great beginner lizard because they don't require much for heat. Usually ambient temperature between 70 and 75 degrees. And really easy because they don't need as many crickets. They actually have a prepared diet that you can either mix with water, or you can mix it with baby food to kind of sweeten it a little bit and give a little bit more nutrients for them. But an inverted 10 or 20 gallon tank with a lot of decorations. The more decorations the better, because if these guys don't have enough to climb on, they can get a floppy tail or muscle atrophy on the tail. And that muscle atrophy can make that tail fall off in the long run. Now you can see the different color morphs on these guys. So a lot of nice color variety. Also, they don't have any eyelids, so they do lick their eyes, and you want to make sure to keep the light level down, because you can burn their eyes with these guys if you have too intense of a light. Next thing that we got in is going to be our bearded dragons. Now we got leatherbacks, which if you look real close, we'll zoom in here. You can see that guy doesn't have any bumps on his back, so that is a leatherback bearded dragon. You'll still have the spikes down the side. Then you got your common bearded dragons. Now these are a hypotranslucent cross, so they do have potential to get quite a bit of color as they age. You can kind of see by my finger on the bottom. They're only about 3 inches long right now. But these guys are great omnivores. They get almost 26 inches in length down to 24. We recommend a 40 breeder, and they do need high UVA and UVB. And heat upwards of 105 to 110 in the basking spot, down to 85 on the cool side. Now romaine, kale, collard greens, any deep vegetables, and any type of fruit is great for these guys, but just stay away from spinach and bok choy, because that will leach the calcium from the body. The next thing that we're going to show you is going to be our ball pythons. Now we did get a bunch of ball pythons in. These are all your commons. So these guys will get anywhere from 5 to 6 foot long. We do recommend a 40 breeder for these guys, and try to keep them between 90 and 95 degrees. Now we do recommend feeding them once a week. They do have heat sensitive pits, so we want to make sure if you are trying frozen to get that mouse up to 100 to 105 degrees when feeding them. Now these guys are great for snake pets. They do get a little large, but the nice thing with ball pythons, if they are scared, they're not going to come out and lash out at you. They're usually going to tuck into a very tight ball, hence their name, and try to hide themselves. So very, very good first time pet with these guys. And they have a long lifespan. Ball pythons can live almost 25 to 30 years on average. Now that is our wonderful reptile order that we got in today. If you guys have any further questions or comments, please give us a call at 507-625-2505. This is Barry from the Pet Expo YouTube channel in Mankato, Minnesota.